The name Hubert is of German origin and means bright intellect. The bishop from Liege in Belgium was named Hubert. He is the Catholic saint and a patron of hunters. The feast day of Saint Hubert is on 3rd November, and it is especially celebrated by people whose occupation is connected with a forest, such as foresters and huntsmen. This day in Poland is named Hubertus or Hubertauani. Saint Hubert is the patron saint of riders, shooters, furriers, sportsmen, and even mathematicians. He is called upon by sleepwalkers, epileptics, and people bitten by dogs who ask for quick recovery and protection from rabies. He is especially worshipped in his home country Belgium, but also Canada and Germany, Bavaria. In Poland there are a lot of forest shrines and churches of this saint. The most famous one is in Rzeszów. The cult of Saint Hubert got to Poland in the early Renaissance, but at the turn of 17th and 18th century it spreaded thanks to the kings. Augustus II the Strong and his son Augustus III of Poland, because they were great amateurs of hunting. Hubert was born in an aristocratic family of Merovingians who had a decisive influence on the politics of Frankish state from the 5th until 8th century. He also received a good education and an access to courtly entertainment such as hunting. Soon after, hunting became Hubert's passion. He started to be very successful in it. He was also brave and had a good heart. At the age of 14 he and his father went out for a bear hunt in Pyrenees. When the bear threatened his father, Hubert saved him at the same time risking his own life. When he was merely 18 he was sent to the court of Pepin II, later the ruler of Franconia. Hubert met there Floribiana, the daughter of Count Dagobert. The young couple truly loved each other, so they received a permission to get married. Unfortunately, their happiness did not last long. Floribiana died in childbirth, but she managed to bear a son whom Hubert gave the name Floribert to honor his wife. The death of his beloved one was a tremendous blow for the young widower. He immersed in a riotous life, spent whole days on hunting, and gave up his faith, ignoring the God's commandments. He did not hesitate to go hunting even on Good Friday. He chased a beautiful deer into the woods. Some say that it was an extraordinary animal, an albino. All of a sudden he noticed a shining crucifix between its antlers. The animal turned to him calmly, and the future saint heard the voice of Christ. God ordered Hubert to give up hunting and seek salvation because his current life would lead him straight to damnation. Obedient to Jesus' directives, Hubert went to Maastricht, to the residence of the local Bishop Lambert. The clergyman was deeply moved by the story of exceptional revelation and agreed to take the young man into service. Hubert entrusted his son to his relative and began theological studies. Meanwhile he did missionary work commissioned by Lambert. He was converting pagans in Ardennes and Brabant. He was so successful in doing it that after Lambert's death he was appointed a bishop by the Pope Sergius I. As a bishop, Hubert did not quit spreading the faith. He personally undertook missionary expeditions on the territory of his diocese, which at that time was still mostly pagan. Soon word spread among the people about the holy man who was speaking softly, preaching faith in one God and miraculously healing the sick. In that way Hubert converted numerous of people. He also moved the episcopal capital from Maastricht to Liege. As a result, it contributed to the dynamic development of the city and growth of its importance, also on the international scene. Hubert died at the age of 72, which was a very old age by medieval standards. He passed away peacefully, and before his death he managed to make a speech. He called the faithful his lambs and asked them to live well and thus let him, their shepherd, sleep in peace. He was buried in the church of St. Peter, Indiana, Liege. Soon after that Pope Gregory II canonized him, and at the same time he made Hubert one of the Catholic saints. On the 3rd of November 743, several years after Hubert's death, it was decided to exhume his body in order to move it to the bottom of the church's main altar. The workers were really surprised to discover that the corpse and clothes had not decayed, and what is more, there was a pleasant smell emanating from the coffin. Nearly 100 years later the saint's body was moved again, but this time to the church built in his honor in a Belgian town, Andange, which since then has been named Saint Hubert. Saint Hubert's tomb has been visited by many pilgrims, both hunters giving thanks for his graces and asking for intercession, and the sick praying for healing. The fibers taken from the saint's robes had miraculous properties. Local monks kept a detailed record of the healings made by Saint Hubert. Among the convalescents there were the blind, paralytics, and also people infected with rabies, a disease which is still incurable today. The Polish chronicles of the late Middle Ages also mention miracles which occurred thanks to Saint Hubert, especially on the day dedicated to him, 3rd November. Unfortunately, the coffin with the saint's remains was lost during the Reformation. The symbols of Saint Hubert are a crossbow, a stag with a crucifix between its antlers. The crossbow is the symbol of hunting, the greatest passion of Hubert. The deer with a crucifix between its antlers refers to the legend about the miraculous conversion of Saint Hubert during hunting on Good Friday.